Hi, I'm Torte Lini. Unlike most of us lonely people, there are some players out there who actually have friends. What's more surprising is this species of Dota players have somehow found a way to keep these friends despite regularly testing their friendship throughout endless matches of Dota. So let's talk about some cool hero duo combos you can do in the safe lane with your friend, partner, wife/cousin, left hand, right hand, whatever. That will help you win during the laning stage to make it a smooth ride for you heading into the mid game. And don't forget, the best combo is to like, subscribe. If you have any questions in the comments, I usually take the time to respond, so leave them down below. Marci IO. This Marci IO combo is actually one of the more recent and probably the most annoying combo to deal with. IO right now is one of the best supports to play, and Marci is quickly becoming incredibly popular due to her strong initial damage and sustain in the lane from sidekick. What makes this lineup actually work so well is that the combo synergizes at pretty much all stages of the game. Marci and IO complement each other from sustain in the lane and fights to providing movement and attack speed in and out of Marci's ultimate ability with a massive early spike in damage thanks to Marci's sidekick. Let's break it down. 1. IO's tether gives movement speed and health mana regeneration. 2. Marci has a sidekick ability buff which can apply to herself and an ally for lifesteal and bonus damage. 3. From Marci's lifesteal with sidekick, IO also is regenerating health. 4. This in turn is then restoring health back to Marci thanks to the tether. 5. When IO uses overcharge, it provides additional max health regeneration to IO and thus Marci. And number 6, IO's overcharge buff also gives attack speed, which is great for Marci when she cannot use her ultimate ability, Unleash. So now you have two heroes that are self-healing one another in some weird holy health gain human centipede thing, and if it runs at you, you're pretty much dead, and they can even dive towers fairly early in the game. Come the mid game, you have a Marci who can go armlet, and that really has no downside since any health she loses from armlet is instantly healed because again, she's being multi-healed from the sidekick lifesteal as well as the IO's sidekick's sidekick lifesteal with a tether regurgitation drizzled all over with overcharge max health regeneration. But now with Marci's Unleash, which gives movement speed, and IO's relocate, you have this crazy global ganking duo that rains punches from the sky. And on top of that, what's really annoying is that IO is a free rebound target for Marci, so she can comfortably stun most enemies who are caught out before they both relocate back home. Oh, and before we move on, don't forget that both these heroes are universal attribute heroes, so any stats they build continues to their damage. Marci with armlet gains like 170% more damage early on when she activates the armlet, which is pretty insane, and IO can contribute to that by building Vladimir's Offering, which not only gives more lifesteal, but gives bonus damage to both heroes and the team. Maybe you prefer some range instead. We have a Vengeful Spirit who pairs nicely with this Drow Ranger Wine. This combination is actually multi-layered, where the laning phase is kind of a no-brainer. Drow Ranger's Frost Arrows and Vengeful Spirit's Magic Missile means you and your friend can keep enemies in relative place long enough to significantly hurt them. This is especially true with Wave of Terror to lower their early game armor. This goes even beyond level 6, where once Vengeful Spirit has Nether Swap, it will be even harder to get away from Drow Ranger's Frost Arrows. You can even grab an early Solar Crest for the Vengeful Spirit to enhance the attack speed of Drow Ranger, as well as give a bit more mana for Vengeful Spirit and her spells. But what's really strong is late game. Drow Ranger's Marksmanship ultimate ability combos beautifully with Vengeful Spirit's Vengeance Aura. You have to understand that Vengeance Aura buffs base attribute related damage, and Drow Ranger's Marksmanship gives a bonus agility to her and her team while also ignoring her target's base armor. Now pair that with Wave of Terror and you're massively buffing Drow Ranger and diminishing the enemy's survivability. You can even grab a Vladimir's Offering on Vengeful Spirit to really take that bonus damage to a higher level. Grimstroke and Sven. I really like this combo because it plays off each other really well at all stages of the game. For starters, Inkswell gives increased movement speed for its holder, so that really helps Sven stay on top of his target, especially when he is casting a level in Warcry. But evidently the chain stun of Inkswell combined with Sven's Stormhammer stun really allows for some deep initial damage and some long seconds of debuffs to your enemy, where Sven is dishing out strong damage as a follow through, especially since Great Cleave gives strength, thus the damage for the strength carry Sven. If need be, Grimstroke can even have or use Stroke of Fate to slow the enemy further post stun status, or Grimstroke also has a Phantom's Embrace to prevent the enemy from retaliating or escaping with abilities because that ability does silence. rounds. Come late game team fights, evidently Grimstroke's ultimate ability Soulbind gives Sven the chance to stun 2 enemies simultaneously with Stormhammer, and the Ag Shard upgrade to Grimstroke's Inkswell means Sven will be healed when he's up close and personal with his God Strength, just swiping at enemies, as well as providing a nice strong dispel for when Sven's blacking bar runs out. Overall, both heroes really work well together on so many levels and enable Sven to be both a laning bully, but also a late game sustaining close fighter. Juggernaut and Crystal Maiden. And this is a classic lane where the Crystal Maiden slows and Juggernaut uses Blade Fury to wipe out of position enemies. What makes Crystal Maiden such a great combination for Juggernaut is that she also has a root called Frostbite, so she can easily Frostbite root an enemy into Crystal Nova slow for Juggernaut to then Blade Fury them to death. To add, Crystal Maiden gets a point in Arcane Aura before level 6. That alleviates some of the mana costs for Juggernaut when using Blade Fury regularly in the lane. Now, it's important to know if you can actually kill the enemies in the lane, as not everyone is susceptible to your damage, especially if they're buying a few bracers to beef up their health, or the enemy position 4 offlane support is too out of range for Juggernaut to reach. It's also important to actually be aware of the changes to Blade Fury in previous patches. It is less effective early game in exchange for a more beefy late game version, so there's a bit more work involved to get this combo to actually succeed, where Crystal Maiden will need to harass and whittle opponents down before you can Blade Fury in as Juggernaut for the kill. Lich and Lifestealer. Okay, so similar to Juggernaut and Crystal Maiden, Lich and Lifestealer are super annoying to deal with for most enemy offlaners. Not only does Lich have a low cooldown magic nuke that slows both movement and attack speed, he also comes with a frost shield that both regularly slows enemies but damages them. Late game, that frost shield will be especially appreciated as it does reduce damage by a significant percentage. Lich combos well with Lifestealer because that frost shield compensates for Lifestealer's difficulty in closing the gap on enemies, as well as giving sustain on Lifestealer in late game fights, on top of the lifesteal from Lifestealer's beast. If all else fails, Lich also has his Sinister Gaze to hold the enemy briefly, and actually what's really frustrating is that Lifestealer's Ghoul Frenzy is also a slow, so you and your partner are stacking multiple slows on enemies who cannot fight back, since their attack speed will be slowed by Lich's Frost Blast and reduced by his Frost Shield, on top of Lifestealer's Feast Lifesteal. To add insult to injury, Lifestealer can even opt for an Orb of Corrosion, which slows enemies and reduces their health regen, making staying in the lane against Lifestealer an absolute nightmare. So basically, in short, a lot of the best combos for safe lane are usually about a hero with great damage and a support that helps set up kills with slows and stuns. What's important to remember is that even though getting kills in the lane is great, the goal is ultimately to deter the offlaner from coming into the lane so that your carry can freely farm and come online as soon as possible. Let me know in the comments what safe lane combos you guys have found when playing with your imaginary friend, and stay tuned for offlane combos coming later.